picture of Ron Stringfield and you saw a picture of Mary Stringfield, who's the head trustee of the board at St. John Deliverance Tabernacle, as you all know, we are in a fight with them because our mother passed away and 6 people did a hostile takeover. And there are some people who said, oh, they just think that they should have their mother's church because that was their mother. No, we're more intelligent than that. We were officers, we were board members, we were leaders by her side, plus sacrifices that we made in the family entitles us. And I say the word entitle, yes, entitles us to be a part of her legacy. Well, I said, James, I see there's a light on in the conference room. I said, yeah, there's a light on the conference room. Okay. Because we were trying to figure out if Ron Stringfield, he has to drive all the way from Atlanta, Georgia, 1,000 miles one way. Okay. So where is he living? Where is he staying? We were thinking that he might be staying at the church because we believe he's single and we believe that he has wanted to or tried to stay at the church, but we're keeping an eye on him. So we always see that conference room light on. So I said, James, let me just go in there and go up to the church and let me look through the window and see what's there. I looked through the window into the conference room and I saw the whole thing had been gutted out. I took a couple of pictures of it. I said, James, they're doing major construction work and nobody knows what's going on. James, can you pick it up from here?
I sure can. Sometime back, I don't know, maybe 2 months now, we received the cease and desist from coming to St. John. So what is it that he don't want us to see? Ron Stringfield, he calls himself Bishop Stringfield, decided to demolish and do demolition of that side of the church. Problem you have is you just can't do demolition without a permit. So he's in violation. And the reason you need to get a permit is because the building inspector needs to inspect the work. I rode to the back of the church one day, and there was a dump truck in the back of the church, and I saw, I don't know, for a better word, 3 Mexican guys. Looked like they were having lunch, and they were bringing things to dump into that truck. It was a rather large truck. So I wasn't thinking anything about it other than the fact, oh, they must have a problem in the dining room, they're remodeling or whatever they're doing. So then it all comes together. When you piece things together, you see it here, you see it there. And my investigative mind from running restaurants, if there was a theft, and all of a sudden the puzzle came together. The reason he had the dump truck in the back of the church is because he didn't have a work permit. So I just decided to go to the planning board upstairs, asked the lady there, what's going on at 35 Piermont Avenue? That's the address of St. John. And she looked in the file and looked, and she said, James, there's nothing going on there. We have nothing on file. And I said, well, it looks like they've done some demolition work. So I called the head guy, and he said, what? Like that. Demolition? You got to have a permit. You got to have a permit. You can't do that. He posted a cease and desist until the proper permits are gained and they do the proper thing. And if you don't know you need a permit, you ain't got no business preaching and being a bishop in nobody's church. Okay? I have a feeling that he knows that he needs a permit. Okay? I don't think he's that dumb. Because in the window on the right side, I thought he had a permit. They have something that looks like a permit, but it's a certificate of occupancy. In other words, when the roof fell in, they had to get a contractor, they had a permit. Then what the building and the zoning people do is they give you a certificate of occupancy that says it's safe to go back in the building after their inspection. But there's no dates on it. So when you ride by, it looks like a permit. But when you look at it closely, there's no dates and nobody signed it from the planning board. So I'm like, oh, that's why he's got this here. What is he building? I surmise that Ron Stringfield has a mortgage in Georgia. Okay, pretty nice house down there him and his wife have. So why is he gutting all this out and being quiet about it? My speculation, when you have to speculate, you fill the vacuum in with the most logic thing in your mind. Well, I don't want to pay $3,000 and I have a mortgage that I'm probably paying monthly on. And I want to take over this church and the buildings, and I can't spend money every time I go there to a hotel. After all, I'm traveling 1,000 miles one way. That's a lot of traveling. So what I'm surmising, that he's building himself a house in the church, an apartment to live in, rent-free. Obey those that have rule over you. And God says he set up the government. There are rules to abide by, just like we drive our car. Stop sign, stoplight. You can't treat it like your home. You might be able to get away with your house if you do something in your house and nobody can see it. But St. John is a public place of gathering. The building was built, just some history, it was built in the 1870s. It was an old farmhouse. That's how it started out. And it's developed into what we see today as a 100-foot sanctuary, okay, and kept building onto it. The church was not made for Pentecostal folks. I had to reconfigure it, I guess, to take the beating that we were doing it. There's money that I had to spend in the church that people will never know about and will never see. And I think it was about $60,000 at that time to reinforce the sanctuary floor in the old church. When people were shouting, the floor was just bouncing downstairs. In the church in the basement, there was asbestos there. And what the building inspector agreed to do is you don't touch that. You leave it alone. As long as it's not touched, it's not going to harm you. It is a sin what this man has done to St. John in trying to build something that he has no right to build. And again, asbestos will kill you. Now, the front part of the building is wood. It's dry wood. It's a wood frame building in the front. The other 50 feet that we put on is cement and steel. Wood frame, if there is a problem with the fire, that would go up and ablaze very quickly. It's dry wood. It's all wood. You need an inspector to inspect every step of that work to protect the people going into that public facility. So he's breaking all kinds of laws and violations. And you know what? He just should not be there. The board is his cousin, Mary Stringfield, who's the head trustee. And she's just letting him go a rough shot right over the church and her. That's what the trustee board is there for, is to protect the people in the church and protect the church from the wolves. And this man is nothing but a wolf.